Looking at Seattle in the 1970s, the environment felt open and trusting. People routinely hitchhiked, and doors were often left unlocked. On a sunny July day at Lake Sammamish State Park, two young women, Janice Ann Ott and Denise Marie Naslund, disappeared right out from under a crowd of thousands. The police received highly specific reports from witnesses in the park. They remembered a handsome, articulate young man asking for help loading items into a light brown Volkswagen Beetle. He wore an arm sling, or perhaps a leg cast, and was leaning on crutches. At the time, early criminal profilers assumed serial murderers were uneducated, highly impulsive maniacs who attacked blindly in the shadows. This particular perpetrator, however, was meticulously organized. He weaponized human empathy. By projecting physical vulnerability, he exploited the natural instinct of young women to help a stranger in need, turning bright, crowded public spaces into his own private hunting grounds. The man driving the Volkswagen was Theodore Robert Bundy. He studied law at the University of Puget Sound, worked on state political campaigns, and maintained a steady long-term relationship. This five-factor personality model visualizes a typical psychopath: high antagonism, low neuroticism. But the defining anomaly here is an extreme spike in high conscientiousness. This made him highly organized, projecting a deceptive outer shell psychologists call a mask of sanity. As the disappearances continued, the police investigation generated an enormous volume of leads, upwards of 200 tips a day. Many of these explicitly pointed to a man named Ted, who drove a light brown VW Beetle. Law enforcement even received direct, credible warnings from Bundy's own girlfriend and one of his college professors, who recognized both the suspect sketch and the vehicle description. Investigators dismissed these leads. Their suspect profile simply did not account for a clean-cut, white, college-educated professional with no criminal record. Their own assumptions shielded a serial killer from detection. By late 1974, Bundy had relocated to Utah. As the pace of his crimes accelerated, his ability to perfectly control the environment began to deteriorate. In November, he approached 18-year-old Carol Duranch at a local shopping mall. Abandoning his injured man routine, he claimed to be a police officer investigating a break-in, instructing her to get into his vehicle to file a report. Once on a dark, isolated road, Duranch realized she was not heading to a police station. After a brutal physical struggle, she managed to force the passenger door open and flee. Duranch's survival provided detectives with a concrete witness identification. During an October 1975 police lineup, she immediately pointed out the man from the mall, giving authorities the leverage to finally make an arrest. The Aspen, Colorado court permitted Bundy to act as his own attorney during a subsequent murder trial. Exploiting the fact that he was allowed to move around the courthouse without shackles, he simply jumped from a second-story window and fled into the wilderness. Recaptured 6 days later, he found another vulnerability. On December 30th, 1977, with prison staff on skeleton crew for the holidays, he climbed through a meticulously carved hole in his cell ceiling and walked out of the jail undetected. The courts and jailers continually underestimated his intellect and resourcefulness. Those miscalculations allowed a known, highly lethal predator to board a bus and disappear across the country. In January 1978, Bundy arrived in Tallahassee, Florida. He was broke, he was increasingly desperate, and out of time to plan his calculated, charming ruses. He targeted the Chi Omega sorority house, situated near the Westcott building on the Florida State University campus. Entering the house in the middle of the night, he abandoned his old organized tactics entirely. For 15 minutes, he inflicted extreme, chaotic violence using a piece of firewood. The assault left Margaret Bowman and Lisa Levy dead. 3 other women in the house and a neighboring apartment survived with severe blunt force trauma, concussions, and permanent physical damage. The calculating law student who lured victims with a fake cast was gone. The Florida attacks exposed the raw, unrestrained reality of the predator beneath the mask. His freedom ended weeks later. After being pulled over in Pensacola for driving a stolen Volkswagen Beetle, Bundy fought the arresting officer, trying to steal his service weapon before finally being subdued. His 1979 trial in Florida was the first to be televised nationally. Acting again as his own defense, he treated the courtroom like a theater, smiling for the cameras and playing to the crowds. He personally cross-examined the detectives, describing his gruesome crime scenes. In another manipulation of the legal system, he used an obscure Florida law to legally marry his former girlfriend, Carol Ann Boone, while she was testifying on the witness stand. The jury saw through the performance and sentenced him to the electric chair. In the days before his 1989 execution at Florida State Prison, he confessed to murdering 30 women, though investigators estimate the actual toll is significantly higher. The scope of his crimes forced the FBI to rewrite their profiling protocols. The Behavioral Analysis Unit had to account for a new reality. A lethal predator could hold a law degree, campaign for politicians, and weaponize charm to hunt in plain sight.